Welcome to the Liberated Feminine Podcast. I'm Lucy Lampy, your host. And in today's episode, we are continuing our series on, well, your questions. And today we're going deeper into the nitty-gritty healing stuff. And if you missed the first episode, make sure you go back and catch that one. It's episode 39 on how all of this began, like a super duper brief introduction to us. And you all have had so many great questions that we're just picking a few. These are the ones that repeatedly came in, and they have a lot to do with healing and how we hold space for, triggers and things like that. So let's dive in with the very first one. What are wounds that have come up for you both, and how have you met them? Or just no big deal. Just what are the wounds?
Yeah, it's loaded. Everything. It's been everything. For me, like, one of the biggest wounds has been just being around a family all the time, nomading for close to a decade and a half. Like, I was by myself. So if I were to be triggered, I can retreat, go into my space, and just emerge like a couple days, a week later, after no contact with anybody. So in this experience, it's been, if I'm triggered, I can't retreat anywhere. Even if I have my own man cave and stuff like that, I'm still here, So that wound of family was a big part of me, a big part that's being healed even to this day, every day going forward. But in the realms of let's say how I've overcame, I don't think that I would say I haven't overcome it fully, but I've learned a lot about pacing. In the realms of noticing when I am flustered, triggered, and I just need a beat, because in my mind and what I used to see when I was a kid is if somebody's triggered, if they're upset, they're just gone. They're gone for a minute. You don't hear from them. And in this case, we have kids here, I can't just exit myself out of the situation completely, because then they're like, what's going on? They pick up on it, So my biggest practice in healing that specific wound for me has been, I do honor my space. I'll be like, I'll tell you, like, I need time in my cave. I'm going to go to my cave and I'll be there for a minute. But then I'll be back, and let's say like Lucy and I are going through it. We still have dinner every night around 6 p.m. So my biggest thing too is to not bring my closeness to the dinner table, because then it's awkward for everybody. So it's been literally a constant practice of staying open with my heart.
Yeah. And I have seen you stay open in those moments. I think just even, we've been here for almost a year now, last July, me and the kids. And his needs for space, it really brought up my wounds around abandonment. It's like being able to trust that you got you and you can take care of you, and you are doing the work to process your emotions, and you're not just running away from them. And then you're going to come back better and more grounded, more ready to move on with the day. And also, as you have kept that practice, I very visibly notice that your processing time has dramatically decreased. It's like we used to maybe take a whole day, can take 30 minutes. It's actually quite impressive. Because for me, I had to learn how to hold space for myself within parenthood, and it's not been easy. It's something I really had to fight for. And so sometimes it helps me to zoom out and see from the perspective of when I felt like I was drowning in my experience and I couldn't get away and I felt trapped. And it's like, oh, I don't want that for you. Mm-hmm. And also there've been so many moments, remember from the beginning, where I'd be like, come back to me. Like, I'm here, but also not forcing you to, that's been really hard for me to trust that I can, that I can not like press in and that you're not going away. Actually, you know what helped me a lot was that that analogy that you gave of the dog on the leash. Do you remember?
No.
Oh, guys. Okay, this will forever stick with me. I think it just came to you in the moment and it really made an impression. It's funny how that works. We never know what it's going to be. It was this idea. You said, if men are dogs, tell me if this is coming back to you, because it's probably something I'm going to miss and then add to it. If men are dogs and women feel like they need to keep them on a leash, like, hey, let's go this way. I need this. I want this. Like let's redirect. And they tug at the leash. And the men say, okay, yeah. And maybe they really don't want to. And then they resent having to. And they feel obligated. Or they fight it and then they just give up. And, we see that all the time in relationships where there's this kind of simp of a man who just is a yes man. And then she doesn't trust him because he's not in integrity with his heart. And then you said there's a second kind of situation where she lets him off the leash and he runs away. And I think I'm going to get emotional in every single episode, so I better just get on used to it. And he'll just go after the next shiny thing or get distracted or chase a bird or go in the street. And how basically that is what happened to me. Like I reached a point, I'm going to mess up my makeup. I reached a point in my marriage before where I was done with the leash, and so I took the metaphorical leash off, and I learned so much in that. And also there was the other shiny thing and the distraction, and I just didn't have that deep, deep safety. And then you said there's a third kind of situation where the dog is not on a leash and he stays, like by choice, and he's not going anywhere. And that was a very emotional day for me. I remember. And that's what I've seen you do. And I have to say, too, that's been really healing for me because of everything, not just in the marriage, but with my father, the abandonment and the, am I worth fighting for? And he was showing me over and over again that I am. And it's these little things because you choose to stay. You choose to do the work and to take care of yourself in the process. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that analogy, because even to this day, like when we go places and we're driving and I point out, let's say we're in the city and I see somebody like walking with their dog and they get to like the street light, the corner, the crosswalk, and the dog just sits down and the dog's not on a leash. The dog's just with them. And then when the light turns green for them to walk across the street, the person starts walking and then the dog just follows right next to them. And that always fascinates me. So I'm like, that dog can just run anywhere that it wants to. But the dog loves where it's at, but the dog also loves freedom. And so I vaguely remember when I shared that with you, it's part of my makeup and just who I am, because a lot of it could be wounds, like why I'm so hyper independent and have been since early teen years. And even younger than that, emotionally, I had to be hyper independent. My emotions. At the beginning, it was really suffocating, like also knowing that I wasn't fully done processing what my trigger was. And then to like almost feel in a way forced to have to put on another hat just to appease you. And at the beginning, I was trying to do that. And then it was just causing way more resentment for me toward you. And now it's even because there's still a nurture inside of me that wants to be done with the trigger quicker than, or I wish there was no trigger. I want to be done quicker. However, now it's like, I have to be clear with you. Like, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not going anywhere. I'm coming back. So, with your abandonment wound and with my hyper independence, it's almost like a freaking bomb. It could be literally a catastrophic bomb. Because even though my intention is not to go anywhere, you're sitting there as like, he doesn't want me, he's leaving, which is not the case. I just literally need a breather. Like, I get into situations and places where I'm like, I don't even want our cat around. No, I didn't want that little punk around. Like, I just wanted to be by myself in my spirit. And at this point, I just know that it's just who I am, you know? If I would have said that a year ago, I would have felt that I was almost like bypassing in a way. Oh, just who I am. I need to be by myself. But now I'm like, no, like my spirit needs a breather before I come back into the space. So yeah, I do remember that analogy, and it feels good because ultimately it's like, yes, I lead the family. I by example, but also it feels good for me when there's moments when I know that you're leading and I can follow you. And that's when that analogy of the dog comes in, you know, it's like, I'm right here with you. I'm not going anywhere. So yeah.
And that also speaks to, I think, a lot of the stuff that's distorted around polarity and masculine, feminine dynamics and all that, because it's, if you were expected to lead whatever that looks like 100% of the time, it's just really imbalanced. And we each have our own strengths, you know, and also I've had to remind myself in the earlier parts of our relationship, especially, to really question my own stories, which was not new for me. I've been practicing that for quite some years. Otherwise I wouldn't have been sane still, but to question my stories of, you know, what do I believe this means? And just let myself name that worst case scenario and just get through it and get past it, and to be able to share that with you. And I know it was hard I remember how difficult it was for you to trust that I wouldn't bring emotions into the space and just make you responsible for them. And so much of this too, like you said, it could be the perfect bomb, but it's actually been the perfect healing container, because your need, let's say that, you know, there is wounding behind needing to just take care of yourself and just rely on you, activated my abandonment. And then me being stressed about being abandoned would further push you away. So it's just classic, you know, opportunity to heal. And that's exactly what we've done, because we've taken those opportunities and we've navigated them with kindness and respect.
Yeah. And in the realms of polarity as well, it's no black and white. I know you speak about this all the time in your work and everything. It's evolving, not every day, like every moment, like relational stuff, not just with romance, but with humans. Every day it's evolving as technology comes in, as social media. There's always something that's evolving about how we relate with each other. And I know if this was like 1950, like my way of just isolating, putting my head down and just closing off to lead a family, it would work then, because that's what my grandfather did and grandfathers after that, you know? But in this society of us, of everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean like a lot of, mainly women, wanting men to be more conscious, being men to be more aware of their emotions. It's like, for what I stand for, what I represent, I know deep down I can't do that. I can't just close off complete. So for me, this is a moment to moment thing with us. You know, it's not like we overcome this thing and then it's like, okay, it's done. It's like, no, because in 3 months from now, it's the same thing, but in a different version. You know, we've done this too. Even when you mentioned about like the last bit when it could push me away, like the guilt feeling that you feel because you have this wound. Yeah. And then I'm like, it's not even the actual wound. That one's
the worst.
Yeah. It's not even the wound of your abandonment with your father. For me, like, I can hold that in my sleep. Like, that's just what I do. Cause I love you. And I love that I love that I could be there for you with that. It's when it becomes way more exacerbated because you feel shame and guilt. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm still mad. But now I have to hold this because she's still guilty. And I have to tell her that it's okay. So that's the part that really actually gets me more.
It's a validation that I need in that moment.
Yeah. It's not even about the wound, actually. It's about the other stuff around it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I remember that one time in the kitchen where we just moved through that thing so quick. And I looked at you and I said, I don't even feel sorry for you right now that I'm having all these feelings. things. And I think you felt that I didn't have this shame and guilt that I'm too much. I was just, here it is. And at this point, to trust me to work through my process too. Yeah. Like I have my own way of doing things in my space. And also part of my process is sharing it with you, but being very responsible with, I'm not expecting you to rescue me or save me or make it better. I just want you to witness me and hold me. And you did that. And we looked at each other and the moment was kind of like, that was really fast. Because it's funny what happens when you're not weighed down by a bunch of extra shame. That's what is burdensome, not the actual emotions coming up.
Because let me tell y'all, when Lucy's going through something, like the whole house feels it. Like y'all see her like just like this, like bubbly and giddy and stuff like that. But when she's like in it, like I don't know how to explain it. It's more like it's like those of you listening,
it's like a cloud.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like a jaguar. It's like a jaguar. Like everybody feels the intense energy. So for me, it's like, how can I diffuse this? I don't want to escalate it, but also I still want to honor myself. Like I got shit to do today as well for the betterment of our fam. So it's like, how can we move past this?
Stay on purpose.
And more times than none, and fellas listening to, is just holding her. Just literally just holding her. Like putting my paw on her back.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's what this is. It's that simple. And then squeezing her a bit, giving her a kiss on the forehead, and then it's done.
Yeah. And the big thing too is that for the men also listening is that it's not performative. I know he says like, let's just get it over with, but it doesn't, but the presence is there when it's happening. You're not rushed. I don't feel like, again, although we do joke about like, it's been 5 days, you're about due for a breakdown.
You're about due for a breakdown. Like how she has like a pregnancy tracker. I have like a meltdown tracker. Yeah, not just for her, but for all the kids too. Everybody.
And somebody's going to be having a day.
There's always a meltdown every other day at some point. All of us. Even the cat, he has meltdown days too. Literally, he has meltdown where he climbs shit. And he just, besides the point.
He gets in a mood.
So, but definitely. I love that distinction too of like, it's not just like performative where it's like, come here, like a minute's done. Let me rub your boo-boo and it's gone. It's not like that. Just the way that my spirit's set up from even just like you say, my athlete background. It's like if the coach says we have to run like 10 miles, I'm just like, all right, let's get this done. Let's get after it. But when I get after it, it's with nurture. It's with care. It's with love. My heart's in it. Because I also know too, because what I can't stand is that disingenuous feeling. Like when, let's say like in the past, when you'd be like, come back to me. It's like, I can't come back to you because I don't feel it yet in me. So I don't want you to experience that either on the other side of it where it's like, oh, I'm just touching you just to touch you, just to shut you up. No, that's not how I roll. So full heart, full presence. If I just give you a bit of that, the feeling you have is going to keep going on the rest of the day.
Because we feel that. And there's this we're so weirdly attuned to each other's energy too. I think, and this is not normal, because it takes so much inner attunement to be able to feel that in each other. And, to the point where, you can be in another room or even on a trip or doing a retreat and I'll feel something and it's like, oh, you're going through something. And so that could go one of two ways, right? That could help us to course correct more quickly, or it could be a burden. It could be burdensome. It could be annoying. And so the fact that I think it is important to note that we have both done a lot of personal work to be able to hold our own. And then that next step is letting somebody else in on that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. Cause it was really challenging for me to still find you sexy when my inner child was feeling triggered and hurt. Like I know bros who are like, oh no, I love when my woman gets upset, angry at me. I'm like, really?
Makes it spicy.
I was I get 100,000% limp dick. Like there's
there's a turn off for me.
There's a turn off for me. Yeah, there's a turn off where it's just like, I don't find that like when Lucy's angry, like maybe when you're angry at other people, I do.
Yeah,
right? Like it was like that. Where I ever do like governmental stuff and there's like paperwork and I'm like, ooh, look at the way she handled that.
He's like, she's spicy.
Yeah, but when it has to do with me, I'm like, no, I can't do it. So, but I had to really find like the thing within me to still find my desire for you, even through conflict. And that was something that I knew in my mind before relationship, but when I'm in it, I'm like, shit, I know this, but how come I don't feel it? So I would say, now I feel it, I still can find that, like, see the beauty in you, even in those meltdown moments.
Yeah. And then once we make it through those moments, it does bring us closer together. But something that I've learned too, that I didn't know I would get to heal through is this, I was pretty attached to this notion that, it has to be more chaotic, that it has to be harder, that there has to be more of a big mountain to overcome. And then we get to enjoy the fruits of making it through that thing. And something that I really appreciate about how, well, number one, I appreciate that your first reaction isn't to explode. If anything, well, you tend to just hold it in and hold it in and hold it in. And this man has a tremendous capacity for holding. And so part of your process has been releasing. But then for me, it's like, how much do I release in this space? And how much, because I got a lot of fire, you guys. I got a lot of fire and a lot of water. And it's a lot. And so how much of that do I bring to you? And that's really been refined to the point where it's like I'm being honest and true to myself and not withholding love, not withholding the really important stuff, not withholding the requests, but also not coming in with this feeling of, I guess the word would be entitlement. Like I'm entitled to this because we're in a relationship together. And I wonder sometimes too, how many times people in relationships are looking for not just validation, but for someone to just make them feel okay or to make them their whole world instead of being there to really love. Because that's a whole other level of showing up.
Yeah, it is. And with your fire and water, it's like 3/4 of my chart is fire. Like at least half is Leo and fire. But I would say I'm more like a volcano because I'm really grounded with the earth, with the Taurus and things. So it's like I'm like a volcano that has lava coming down. Not much, but a little bit. And at times when you come with your spice and your water, it's like water on top of the lava and creates this deep, intense smoke. But for me, it's not something that feels like a burden ever. And I told you that many times. It doesn't feel like a burden. And what I really appreciate about you is how you're one of the biggest advocates for sovereignty, in all ways. And yes, there are relational things that are needed because that's what commitment is. But also, I really appreciate how you do give me space and you don't force my hand anything, because you also know that wouldn't work with me, with anybody, with how my birth chart looks like even if it's your idea, you have to give me 30 minutes to say that it's a little bit mine, so that even though it's yours,
I may have had the vision, but you have to get the direct message.
I have to get direct message.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. It's exactly like that. I would say another thing too that really has, it's not a wound, but a trigger that comes up is how quickly you move with things.
Oh, and that's actually one of the questions anyways. Yeah. Different paces of the processing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of them because I'm very, I just take my time with things, that's just how I am. And I love that about me because I don't rush into things. And when you get the initiative, you just go for it fully. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, we had, I thought we had an agreement that we were going to do this thing together. And then you go ahead and then you do it. So for me, it's at times I'm just well, she doesn't need me then, and then I get triggered and I get closed off and I'm like, okay, then oh, now you want my input after the fact. So that's something that it hasn't happened a lot after the first few times. And also I understand because coming from your past experience, you had to take initiative and you had to execute, it wasn't just either or, you had to do both. for survival in many ways, emotionally, financially, a lot of these ways. So I understand it. But in this case now, it's like, what brings me joy is being a part of that and being acts of service with you and the kids.
Yeah, that's a really big one too, because I didn't even realize how that, I guess that's a form of hyper independence for me, because I have certain fire placements in my chart, for example, that I just work really fast, and it's initiatory and follow through. And also I'm a Capricorn. So I just love getting things done and being like, oh, that's done. But then also I didn't realize the wounded reaction behind that of, yeah, if I don't do this, it's not getting done. And the people that I've worked with really closely in the healing process for myself throughout this time have told me more times than I can count, like, Lucy, this is supposed to be your soft girl era, which I thought, what does that mean? It doesn't mean I do nothing. It just means I get to stop bracing and trying to, just forge forward, and that I can be more easeful about it and trust that this is a partnership. We're in these things together, and there were certain things too that it wasn't until looking at it in retrospect that I could see, oh, I didn't let you in on that decision or that action or scheduling the thing or whatever it was when it impacted both of us, because that's me protecting myself and thinking, if I just don't burden you with a thing, then you have more space and capacity to just love me, because that was my pattern before. That's what I did before. And this whole, everything that we've gone through together has really challenged all of those deeper things that I didn't even know were there, because that was part of my survival strategy. And it worked there, but I don't need to carry it here. Otherwise, it actually chips away at what we are meant to create together.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see, it brings me a lot of joy as well. Like when I do things, like things get done, even without like it being asked, and even for the kids, it's like, even at times with the kids, but I love doing those things because that's just who I am. So when I feel like I'm not let in on certain details, I'm like, then why am I here then? Cause as a man, I'm looking for purpose. Men, we look for purpose all the time. Like we look for purpose. We look for things to hang our hat on. And even though it could be an egoic thing, but it's hardwired in us, in the DNA to provide in various ways. So that's why at times I would take that really hard, where it's like, you don't want me to be a part of that? Like, and also, I have the best ideas. So.
Oh, that's debatable. We have best ideas, different ideas. You do have great ideas, though. He does have really good ideas. And sometimes it's like, oh, why did I think of that? But yeah, I think that also there is a piece of me being able to trust that you actually do enjoy providing, that you want to provide, that it's not pulling teeth and it's not trying to get you to, talk you into anything. I remember telling you from the start too that, I'm not going to drag you along into my vision. It either matches up what you want, what I want, or doesn't. And that's always also, of course, evolving, because we don't ever have the full picture. But there were certain things that I knew for sure I did not want to repeat, like having to talk somebody into something or convince them. And yeah, I think that a big part of my personal healing and just in the wounding is trusting, and then seeing that you are trustworthy and you show up, and there's not this resentment of, I have to do this because now, there's kids and a family involved. You really do enjoy doing the things that you do. And I don't know if it's your Leo or your past lives or what, but there really is this, I'm not going to do it if your heart's not in it. Not to say you haven't been stretched out of your comfort zone, but you're being stretched right now. Literally, the kids are out there yelling and having. Can you hear that? You probably can't even hear them. I'm calling it out because this is one of our real life daily things.
I was just about to say
the
too.
joys of parenthood.
I was just about to say too. Peace is like my ultimate driving force. Literally, I was just about to say that, and that's why I love doing the acts of service and providing.
Yeah,
because providing, it brings peace to everybody.
Exactly.
And as soon as I was about to say that,
our peace disruptor,
starts screaming in the background. Triggered moment.
But notice how he handles it.
Yeah.
No, this is real life, y'all.
Need a liver detox.
We both need a lot of detox.
A lot of anger in my liver.
Every time we go to a healer, they're like, your liver and your root, you have
every time we see a healer, or whether it's an Eastern doctor or a Western doctor, they say your liver, it's healthy, but it can use a detox. It can use some support. And I'm like, yeah, because emotionally it's being beat up.
And he's like, I don't feel really angry, but it's definitely there. It's brewing. It's the volcano, the magma beneath. It's just like peace. Yeah. And my highest value is peace. Believe it or not. I know you know that, because we will protect the peace at all costs, which part of that is having, the difficult conversations, course correcting, because that is the ultimate peace, not just like an illusion of it. And I think that's another big thing that helps us through moments of conflict or just not seeing eye to eye. Because that was another thing that was the last thing here, or no, not the last thing, but how we handle triggers and conflicts.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of got into that. I mean, we take our space, we communicate.
Yeah, the biggest thing too, I just feel is just for y'all listening, it's so important to identify our coping style. Because our coping style, it's going to be our coping style. Yes, it can always be refined and redesigned, but knowing what you actually need and then implementing that is so important. So it's like, I know my coping style is being by myself for a little bit. That's just how I am. Now to redefine or redesign it, it's like, it can't be for a full day. It has to be for 30 minutes to an hour max. And then I have to come back, So understanding what we need is so important.
Yeah. And especially when they're exactly opposite. For example, for me, it's like I have something and I need to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And part of my learning process too is that I don't always need to talk all about the whole bit with you. I do need to process it with someone, because also that's that feminine energy, I feel like, that just wants to process externally. But I think where we as women a lot of times get a little bit, we work against ourselves, is we think that the partner needs to be the one to receive all of it, where we're meant to have sisterhood, we're meant to have community and other people to support. Yeah. And then, of course, not withhold it, but kind of, work through parts of the process that can really best be supported by other women.
Yeah. And it's deeply like bringing it back to, because my past, a lot of my work was in traditional Tantra, and specifically white Tantra, which was about myself and about self-cultivation and emotional regulation from within. And I never got into the red tantric space, which is with a partner. And I think about a lot of the principles when it comes to white tantra and regulation, how easy it was for me during those years. And it's a whole nother experience with somebody, because now it's a lot just identifying yourself, about what your triggers are, what they aren't. And now it's like being attuned to you and what your triggers are and what you need and what you don't need, and your signal words, even if you don't know them, but I hear them. With Tantra, it's about curiosity, about learning myself and learning the environment around me, and how I can self-sustain. And so with now being in this dynamic, I have to expand that to you and see what you need. And it's unique to everybody. So the fellas listening to it's like, you have to understand not what you think your partner needs, but what she's communicated with you that she needs. There's a big difference in that. Because a lot of times too, it's like, let's say the things that I feel I'm doing tremendous at, you're like, yes, and I'd rather just a hug, So it's like understanding what you actually need. And with the curiosity that Tantra asks of us, a lot of it is trial and error. So like I mentioned already, it's like, I can do things for you that I think you like, but in reality, it's like me hearing from you what you actually like and what makes you feel safe and feel better. And also a lot of it, like from my masculine stance, is also, it's trial and error. You know, it's like, not that you're an experiment, but it feels like an experiment at times.
Both experimenting
because
with
like,
each other.
let's say if you're spiraling, like I'm a Taurus moon, so I'll always lead with like, you want some steak? You know, like, you want some food?
You want some food?
You want some food? Yeah, a lot of it is trial and error, because sometimes I'm like, okay, she's having a tough time now. She still needs me, my heart, my presence, but also her body needs stuff. She probably needs some protein. You need food, you know, you need some fruits. So, as in a masculine stance, it's like, it's still problem solving, you know, like my heart's always going to be there, whether it's food or a hug, but I want to troubleshoot essentially everything possible that can support you in coming back to you feeling like home in your heart, feeling safe. And I find, when I approach it that way, and you're really good at letting me know, like, yeah, like, no, I'm okay with that. I don't need that. But yeah, because every time I ask you, like, you want me to cook you a ribeye? Yeah. Like, you get really excited, even if you're not in like a good state. Yeah. And even like, let's say, have you went for your walk? You know, have you done some movement and things like that? Or sometimes it's like, let's just go lay in the bed and just cuddle for like 15 minutes, you know? So, a big part of, my masculine stance in this is not ticking boxes, but I'm always looking for solutions to see what's going to make you feel better in that moment. And every day can look different. You know, one day it's a walk, one day it's a steak, another day it's a cuddle, another day it's literally just like, you know, like watching a show on TV to relax. But, it's so important for all the men to literally like understand, that's why I say it's moment to moment. It's so moment to moment because it changes. And the state of your tides are always changing, you know, like low tide, high tide, rough waters, calm waters. Like that's just the nature of your feminine, of the feminine. So as a man, I have to literally set my sails accordingly to be able to not barrel through the waves, but to ride them.
Yeah. And also you being a Taurus moon, I'm a Cancer moon, and that's the deep waters. And it can be a little rough sometimes or just really deep. And there's just a lot there. And the fact that you can roll with that and not be, drowned by it, you stay so grounded. And I really needed that. I needed that groundedness, that like, okay, what do we need to do? Because it never feels like you're just trying to fix something. That's the thing, is that I can really appreciate now that part of that masculine energy is to problem solve, and not from a place of like, well, let's just get this out of the way because I'm so annoyed. It's really, there's so much care there and heart, and that is felt. And so, you know, just women and men, you know, the women will feel when you're doing it again as a performative thing or out of really deep love and care.
Yeah. And I know our potential together is not meant for the valley, is meant for the top of the mountain, you know? So I'm always going to keep searching for ways to further get us up to that mountaintop, no matter what it looks like. And it's never like a bypassing where it's like, yeah, let's just cover it up and just, you know, like feel better so we can keep moving. No, it's like, no, we have to genuinely figure this out so that we can keep moving forward. Because the top of the mountain is peace. You know, think about when we saw Chimborazo that one time at the top of the mountain, like that moment that everybody there was just like silent and just looking. It's like that peaceful feeling. Like that's what I envision for our connection, for the kids, for everybody who comes into our community, who stays here in our house. It's like, I want them to feel that. So all things encompassing, you know, and it starts from you. It starts how you feel, because we can't have guests come over and then like, you're not feeling nourished or nurtured, you know, like how can I get you back to feeling satiated is what I'm always asking myself.
I like that. Because also I've made it, and there's another episode that I did release a while back about how the feminine frequency is actually what's leading, and the masculine response to that with the action or this or that. And women resent that. I know sometimes it's hard to hear, ladies, but the energy that we bring into the space, it really is important.
Yeah.
It sets the tone. And because he's just going to want to, like, okay, how do we make this right? You know, and if I was just in this wounded maiden energy, just fix me and take care of me and give me everything I want. Oh, yeah. Those remnants of that have really been very humbled.
Yeah. And you could be in those spaces. Like, we play and then you get into those spaces and I take lead. I bring you treats, like all this stuff, you know, like I'll feed you chocolate.
I love the treats.
Like all that stuff. Like we play that way, but deeply, like even in my masculine state, it's like, I don't feel less masculine knowing that, like, I want your well-being and your mental state and your emotional state to be number one. You know, like that whole, I can't stand the saying like, happy wife, happy life. I can't stand that.
Those Sims.
Yeah. Like I don't like that. But there is a grain of truth in it, because for me, it's like if you're happy, everybody else thrives. You know, like if mom is happy, everybody else thrives in this household here. And of course, because Lucy's the biological mother of the 4 kids we have here. But it's like, if there's a day, let's say, when she's not doing well, the kids really feel that. If there's a day that I'm not feeling well, they feel it, but it doesn't really like impact them the same way, because it's mom not feeling well. And being clear on that too, it's like, that's why for their sake and their peace and their nervous system, like we have to keep mom feeling nourished, because everybody benefits from it.
Yeah. And that's a big distinction there, is it's not surface level happy. It's real nourishment. It's the heart, at the heart level. It's not like, oh, honey, what can I do for you? What can I rub your feet? It's like, what do you need? And what does your heart need? And I feel that. And that's created this whole different experience of safety for me that I can just exhale into, and I don't have to carry that by myself. And so, I mean, that I think everything, every wound, every healing opportunity, it really just lends to that at the end of the day, is the peace and the safety and the easefulness, and more of this just permeability instead of this party that linear.
Yeah, I feel a huge reason too why we get through disagreements and the wounding stuff really like faster than normal is purely because we have an intention and a vision, which is peace. Like, and I feel a lot of people, they struggle with getting through conflict because they don't have an intention that's going to pull them out of it. Like, peace is our anchor. You know, it's the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the thing that we know that's there, that we ultimately want. And we have to reaffirm that every time. And even if it takes me 30 minutes to an hour to get back to that, like, oh yeah, peace is what we actually want. And then I come back quicker. And if we didn't have that, I'll be like, what the F's the point? Like, why are we here? You know? And I feel a lot of couples, they struggle with not having the intention on why they're together.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it just becomes a battle of egos. It's like, who's right? Whose needs are more important? And honestly, I think that's where people get lost in the sauce the most. Yeah. There's no shared vision. Like, what are we working towards? Why? How can we make us against the issue and not against each other?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I went into my man cave and I'll just grab my pillow, my Africa pillow, and I'll just shove it in my face and go.
That's so healthy. I love it.
And I'll do that. And then you'll peek out and I'll just be like calm like this, and you won't even know why. Like, you're probably thinking like, this motherfucker doesn't even care. He doesn't even care.
No, I'm just thinking you're in there doing breath work and meditating.
And I'm sitting there on my vibration platform naked, just like trying to just shake it out. But it's like, so many times I do that. And also too, that's healthy for men, I feel.
It is.
That's another thing I feel.
Humans.
It's healthy for humans. For men specifically, it's like, of course, working out, doing things like going like, somatically, but also like actually having a cathartic release, like a simple one. It doesn't have to be a big one, but actually like yelling into a pillow, like yelling like, before you come back to resolution. Like with your partner to come to repair, like we have to release, because we do have hormones. We do have a lot of things within us that we need to get through. And I know like that fire that I feel, I know that it's not me. It's not the me that loves you. There's just something in my biology that's just like, yo, you need to release something before you get back into this conversation, and I feel we all have that. So that's something too that I feel is really healthy for couples to do going forward, is like finding your way of coping. Like, again, mine is getting naked on the vibration platform with a pillow, screaming, working with tobacco. Like I have my routine that helps me bring me back to stasis, so that when I approach Lucy, it's like the most nurturing, calm, and grounded version of me. Like, I never want to like request I need space and then come back the same way that I left. To me, that's fucked up. I would never want to do that to you.
Well, that's just avoidance. And that's the thing that a lot of women are afraid that their men will do, is if I give him space, he's just going to numb and avoid. And that's why I appreciate this so much, that you actually do something to shift your state of being and your emotional state. And then, the whole screaming to a pillow thing, I think I screamed every day for maybe 2 years. I had a lot of pent up rage. Okay. Yeah. But I think that's really healthy and important too, to like move that energy in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a big thing, is vision, I feel. That's what helps us get through conflict. Wouldn't say easier, but in a more efficient way.
Mm. Yeah. It's focused.
Mm.
It's kind of the same idea of, okay, we need to, in order to get there, we need to do this. And it's just a natural step in the process.
Yeah.
Not getting all caught up and like, why is this happening?
Yeah, it's getting the body out the way, the human part of us out the way. That's all it is. Like the spirit, the soul's not like that. It always brings you back to that beautiful art installation that was at Burning Man several years ago. It had like two adults kind of like with their arms like this crouched, and they were facing each other with their head down. No, their backs were to each other.
Oh, that one.
Their backs were to each other, but then like on the inside of the art installation, there was two little children reaching for each other. And I always get that imagery when it comes to conflict, because it's never it's never our spirit or our soul or heart of us. It's all the other bullshit that that we had to fight through.
Yeah, the inner child piece too is that we get to see and love each other's inner child. It also helps. You have a picture of yourself as a little boy on your desk, and I have a picture of myself behind the mirror in the bathroom, and we see those every day. And it's like, this is the little person that I'm doing all of this for. I want to honor your magic and your vision and what you're here to do, and not let all of this stuff get in the way. And to see that in each other is, I've done so many things to processes where I'll go back and just send energy and love your inner child. And I remember that at the beginning, because I could see, and that was the other thing too, as far as healing wounds was, remember that first week that we were connecting even, I was really wanting to see it. Not that it. Okay. I wanted to see it. Like, where's the pain? Where's the wound? Where's the stuff that nobody else sees? Because I want to know if our pain is compatible, It's kind of, I think that's the best way to put it, but is that something that I can be with, basically? And it was so much of like, okay, what are your wounds? What is your trauma?
Yeah.
Hope it wasn't too intense, but
no, it wasn't the most intense. But I appreciated it though, because it's like we don't have time to be wasting time when it comes to connections, and especially you, like you're a mom of 4, about to be 5, but at the time 4. And like, you can't just be like messing around and dating, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to a point too where it's like, I stopped dating. Like, I was just like, I'm over it. Like, I'm tired of it. It's just like, it's whatever. Well, that's why I had questions for you as well, as I mentioned in the first episode. But yeah, it's, I really appreciate that transparency. That's why I feel we never had like a honeymoon phase, because I associate honeymoon phase with like those questions not being asked.
Yeah, and it's just all chemicals.
It's all chemicals and like, let's see what happens.
Lust.
Yeah, it's like, no, let's get to the bottom of it, which I appreciate. But yeah. And I'd say the last question for today is, it's how do you keep your sexual energy alive while raising kids, running business, and living life?
Just a small question, no big deal.
All of them are really small. Yeah.
Oh, geez, where to begin on that?
Yeah, I mean, from what I witnessed of you, like I've witnessed mastery all the time. And what I really appreciate is how you just don't help women feel pleasure in their bodies. Like you practice it every day. Even if you didn't share a peep about it, you would still be doing it. And I witnessed you. Like I can't tell you how many times I walk in a room and Lucy's self-pleasuring. And it's just like, it's as simple as like watering a plant. Like I'm like, oh, hey, leave it, you know? And it's like, at the beginning, I used to be very like, oh shit, should I join? Should I, like, what should I?
You can always join me if you want.
Yeah, join, yeah. But at the beginning, like, I felt like awkward. I was like, wait, what's going down? But when I got to the point I started appreciating it, I was like, she really waters herself, you know? And that sets the tone for everything, you know? And it's not in a way of like, you're doing it to, as a crutch. It's not a crutch for you. Like, you're not like, I'm having a bad day. Like it's because I didn't self-pleasure. It's not like that, you know? You just know that it gives you life force. Like it really supports you. And I see how you show up with the kids after that. And of course, it's like it's an endorphin, like tonic, you know, it's a cocktail. So I see how you lead the charge with that. For me, like, as far as sexual energy, that was, and still is a big adjustment for me. To like for us to be in our space and for me to get going, knowing that there's kids running around, you know? And it's like, there's only a door there. Like I was used to just having my own space all the time, you know? So Lucy being married for almost 2 decades, like she figured out ways to like have her pleasure, but still like, you know, like take advantage of the moment to seize the moment. And for me, it's been a big like adjustment to like, well, there are kids around. I hear noise far away in the house. It's like, we got to get it in, you know? So that's been a big adjustment for me too, of like, that it's okay. And it even pushed my boundaries because I realized like, even though my background is in traditional tantra, I was very conservative and a lot of like my pleasures and like my kinks and stuff like that, very conservative. So like with you, like Lucy's just like, let's put everything on the table. Like I have a flog in my closet. We haven't done that.
You want me
yet.
to pull out the toys?
Yeah. It's like Lucy has all this. So like I just, long story short, it's just like, yeah, I just see how you nourish yourself and how it just trickles down to every part of your life.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You appreciate that about me. That's one of the things on my list. I was like, I want my man in the future to appreciate this about me. But also there is this piece of, you know, both of us are, it's like our sexual pleasure follows the heart connection. Like that can't open up when we're undernourished or, disconnected from ourselves or disconnected from each other. And so I think everything else that we've talked about to this point is a direct contribution to that question. I think sometimes people will compartmentalize like, oh, now it's sexy time, you know, and especially when there are kids, you know, you have this window of time as you have now, you know, learned. And they think, well, how do I suddenly just become a sexual person? And for me, part of my rewiring was in my very identity. Of I am at my core, I am a sexual person. And that doesn't mean it's perverted. It doesn't mean it's distorted. Like it's just flowing out in different ways all the time. And so now I just get to access it in this expression. And so it doesn't feel so far away because it, you know, for so many years it was this other part of me and it felt forced. Like, now I have to try to be this. And it felt like going through the motions. And so, yeah, so self-pleasure practice for sure has been a really big part because I was never someone who would just masturbate to take the edge off. I would actively avoid doing anything with pleasure because I thought, I don't need it. I'm just not a sexual person. And so that was some years though of actually working actively with that part of myself. But a lot of this is self-cultivation, yeah, and working through stuff as it comes up, and honoring that everything is more fluid than we think.
Yeah. And in the realms of sexual energy, for me, it's, this is why I value peace, because you've seen, like, when I'm in survival mode, like, everything is shut down for me, like, sexually, everything. Like, I have no desire. Like, the only time I touch myself is to go pee. Like, that's literally like what it feels like when I'm in survival mode. And it's very interesting because I know a lot of men who are the opposite. When they're in survival mode, they just want to do everything with their penis. They just want to flop and, like, do things and have a lot of sex and masturbate just to get off. And I'm the opposite. Everything just literally goes away. So being in this space now, it's that's why I really fight for peace, because I also know when peace nourishes my sexual energy. Like, I can't, and it's also in human biology. It's like, if we're in a state of survival, our reproductive system's shut down. But my body takes that to the 10th power, which is stupid. It's like, I know the world's not ending in our world, but my body, like, it's like, no space for pleasure. Exactly. And then it gets to that space, and then, like, I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't feel good. Because even times when you come and, like, touch my back or touch my body, it's like, I don't feel anything, because I'm not in, like, peaceful state. So everything that can just nourish my peace leads to me having a healthy level of sexual energy.
Yeah. I think this comes back to all of that nervous system work, because if we feel, if we're in survival and it's like our bodies think that the world is ending, and we can't talk our way out of that or override that. There has to be real nourishment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I'm super, super proud of us for highs and lows, and even living here in Ecuador, it's like dealing with, like, administrative stuff has been some of the most frustrating. And to navigate this with somebody who doesn't make it my fault, or I don't make it your fault, it's more just like, fuck, and we get things done, but it's just I feel those little moments too of, like, admin stuff, visa stuff, like all the ups and downs and the runarounds. It's made our connection stronger too, because we can easily take the stresses from those things and bring it into our space, into our connection, and you don't. So I really appreciate that.
Plus, it gives me the opportunity to just get a little angry, and then you like that. So
yeah, I like that Lucy gets angry in Spanish specifically. And starts, like, just, like, mumbling Spanish when she's angry.
Because I don't even know how to curse in Spanish. I didn't grow up, learning those words. So it's funny because I will say literal things, but angry. I do not have the capacity for this. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I feel overall there's, like, a plethora of things, and we can, like, talk a lot about it too, and, like, what helps us maintain our sexual energy. And we're a big family on health as well. And of course, we have the pleasures of having fresh food around. We have a garden. We ate beans and potatoes from our garden last night. And it's all encompassing. It's not just, like, an emotional thing. It's like, it's total care, like, for both of us, like, nourishment. Sleep is another thing too. It's like, we value that together. And so it's not just a one-way thing. It's a lot that really helps us maintain our sexual energy and a life force.
Yeah. And this is also something, like, when we do have the workshop, it's like everything that we do already individually and now together in this is more holistic. It's not a quick fix. It's not a Band-Aid. It's not like, here, take this boner pill and, your problems will be fixed. Yeah. It's the real stuff. And it does require a commitment. Mm-hmm. And also there are some things that, people can begin implementing right away and see a change. Yeah. Those simple things, but also understanding that both of us, our approach is very much from the heart and soul to the body and the lifestyle. It's not just one thing.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to cover a lot of that in the workshop. Because it's even like what I'm going to speak more about too is, like, a holistic being. It's how we're really good with each other. Like, every time you reach for supplements, you're like, hey, do you need zinc? You need to take your vitamin, your B12, you dig your Bs. I was like, you do these things, and, like, I do it for you. So this is a big part of the nurturing care. because we want our bodies to be in the most optimal state so that we can navigate conflicts faster. Because if we were eating fast food every day, drinking alcohol, and like just eating terribly, it'd be a lot harder to navigate as well with a clear mind of what's coming up for us.
Yeah, because brain health is important, nervous system health is important. And we don't bypass that. And that's something else I really appreciate about you, is that there's a spiritual element, there's the soul piece, and there's also this grounded human flesh and bones body piece.
Yeah.
And it's not like one versus the other. It's all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want to take care of my body. This is my church. This is your church. And we fought for this after having to go to church for so many years. We did. And it's like one of my favorite teachers was Ramana Maharshi. And he was considered one of the greatest sages of all time in India. You know, my connection with India. I've never been to India, but it's come up in a lot of readings that I have recent past lives, and I can't stand talking about past lives. And you know, I was like, past lives. But it's like it comes up, a lot of stuff from that time. And Ramana is somebody who really impacted me and impacts my work. And I remember like one of his downfalls is that he caught an infection in his leg and he never got it treated. I believe he got stabbed or something like that. He never got it treated. So connected to God, to everything. And that took him out ultimately. He wanted that, but it took him out. And now it's like, I don't want that for me. I don't want that for you. It's like our clear channel to God. A big part of it is how we take care of this temple that we have and how we take care of each other's temple. No, I'm not going to go into a church and fuck shit up. I'm not going to destroy it. You're not going to go. We have respect for it. So, and ultimately, like, talking to God together is literally the mission of our connection. Whether it's sex, it's with family, it's with working together. How can we clearly communicate with God in all forms? And taking care of ourselves physically is a huge part of it.
Yeah. And then to that point too, a lot of our healing journey too has been refining the physical health and figuring out, okay, what's behind this fatigue or behind this or that. And so we've seen each other through a lot of different challenges in that and autoimmune things, you know, in the time we've been together. And it's been really special for me too, to be able to, because it felt like I was repeating a thing that I went through 8 years ago. And at first there was a freak out of, oh my God, no, not again, not again. But then I realized this was here to redeem that and to help close that up and to approach it differently and to experience partnership differently with that same kind of experience, which was healing on a whole other level. And so
what you're saying is that I had to suffer for you to close the loop.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
I never had autoimmune stuff until I met you. I never had autoimmune stuff.
That is false. That is false. No.
I was healthy as an ox.
You thought you just had parasites, but all this stuff was in there before.
It was. You're ready to come out quicker.
Yeah, this is true though. Also, this is literally true. There are multiple people that have confirmed this. They say, yeah, you doing this together, it has expedited the process. So basically, I remember looking at Priscilla or talking to her and saying, so basically what you're saying is that we have compacted 10 years of healing into those first 6 months. And she's like, yeah, that's what it has felt like. And that's part of why it's also been such a blur and the intense parts, but it's helped us to solidify it's the real deal. You know, we really are in this together, not fixing each other. We're not rescuing each other. We go to appointments together. We go to healing things together. And it's not like we're broken and we need to be fixed. It's just, how do we experience more of that peace that we're talking about?
Yeah. So it's all encompassing, but yeah.
Hope you are satisfied with all of our answers there, but we did cover a lot today.
Yeah, we did. Like in transparency speaking, it's like, I always told myself I would never have these conversations or be this kind of work with a partner. Yeah. Because it just triggers me too. It's like, I don't want to be in it. But I do see the value in it. And I see a lot of men out there who do have questions. Because even in the times as I'm healing at a rapid pace with you and the family, it's like there's dudes out there who are in the same situation but don't have support, or have access to a community or even a partner who is understanding enough to support them as well as it's happening. So having these conversations means a lot to me as well, because there's been so many times that I felt so lonely, like in this healing process and being with you. But also what's taking the edge off is just how accountable you are to yourself. It's taking the edge off. And of course, me having my support in my community and my peoples has supported me. These conversations are important, because my biggest thing is that there's no one way to any dynamic or relationship. And it's always evolving every single moment. It's always evolving. There's no one way. Like, we can share things that we do that support us, but ultimately it has to be with the kitchen setup that you have to be able to cook your version of this, you know? So, but I'm grateful that we've had these conversations, because it's the truth. It's like, we'll be telling them, or we'll be, when the baby's not in me no more, we'll be having a cigar talking about it with somebody anyway. So yeah.
This is true. And this is also the things that friends and community appreciate about us, is that it's real life, you know, and so many people do feel lonely in their process. And I also want to give you a huge acknowledgement that I know that this is unprecedented for you. And also I can, it's like I can see your soul, like, we're stretching, this is new. And you're doing it, and I think you're doing it pretty seamlessly. I don't know what it feels like on the inside, but
every time my soul stretches, I'm at the hospital. There's like another appointment being made.
We're getting more blood work done.
Adrenal work, this work, liver work. It's like thyroid. This is something.
We need to test
every
your
time.
prolactin.
So it's like, for y'all, when Lucy posts something of us and I'm in it, it's like, it's easy for you guys and for her, but for me, I'm like, oh. Like, why? You know, it's
and every
like,
time you say yes, a part of me is like, really?
It's a stretch for me. That's a lot of work too.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening beneath the surface.
Because you know me, like I generally want to leave social media. And I've been saying this for the last year and a half. I actually want to leave social media. Like it doesn't bring me joy. Connection brings me joy, but the actual social media doesn't. And the more aware I become, I feel the impact on my nervous system with social media. Grateful for it, but also like I've been wanting to leave it. So now Lucy is like one of the queens of social media and how she relates and expresses. And I'm like, oh, of course, my soul would manifest somebody who's like all up in social media when I'm trying to make my exit. So.
As someone who not only enjoys it, but actually I have found a way to experience this really beautiful connection with people through it. Mm-hmm. So it's a spiritual practice for me. And so he never met anybody quite like that, I don't think. He's like, social media. I'm like, yay, social media.
Yeah, I'm tired of people. I'm just tired of people.
Like, leave me alone.
That's why I drink my cacao and frolic in our garden.
Yeah, grab some rosemary and
some rosemary. Yeah.
A few potatoes or something.
That's all I really generally want.
Peace.
But then like, you're like posting 10 times a day. I'm like, how does she do this? And writing a book. Like, there's so much.
Like a couple courses.
So that's a big part of like my triggers as well. Is how good and efficient and how much she loves social media. But I love that about her though, because it's because she defines, you define how you use social media. You know, like you're not a user, like you're not a user of it. Like you express on it, and I see also that distinction. But also dragging me into it. It's like.
And that's the thing. You're like, I will not be on your social media all the time. I was like, you don't have to. But there's also this desire of like, I would like to share this and this. And so when it comes to me, every time there's a little bit of a push inside of me of like, do I have, now I'm going to have to ask him. Now I have to see, and so it's a little bit of a rub in there for me too. But then there's always such an expansion in that feels liberating.
Yeah.
And I see that it has an effect on you.
Yeah, because you translate so well on social media, like your goofiness and bubbliness stuff. It's like for me, like I'm at my best when I'm in person with people. Yeah. That's how people see like the real like goofball and stuff. And
yeah, he's super weird, guys. Don't be fooled by this.
It's like people who know me, you know, and it's like even people on my retreats, they know me. But expressing on social media has just been an edge for me too. And you helped me expand in that, because in my birth chart, I'm meant to be
You literally are.
Literally are, yeah.
Your soul is here for this. And me with my 1 Leo placement in my 10th house, which is public image. He's like, you're more Leo than I am. I agree. I can agree with that.
You hear how low Lucy's voice drops when astrology comes in the conversation? You really are.
17 degrees.
Yeah, she gets really serious about it. So she's here to help my soul expand in Mercury, right? No.
I think you have a stellium in your 3rd house.
Yeah.
Which is all communication.
Some stellium.
Leo. And Leo.
Yeah.
I'm like, literally, you're here to communicate through some kind of format of public communication. Yeah.
That's something too, like, fellas, if you have a woman who loves astrology, just let her talk about it. Like, don't shut it down or make jokes about it. Because Lucy comes to me, she's like, yeah, there's something interesting going on today. And I'm like, what is it today? What is it today? But I believe her because I'll feel something and she'll say it. So fellas out there, if you have a woman into astrology, literally just listen. Shut your mouth and listen because there's something to it. But yeah,
there's something there.
There's something there.
Take what resonates,
But I appreciate that you helped me expand in that way and to share because it's wild to think too, like we're too hot to handle after filming 6 seasons. That there's been millions and millions and millions of viewers of my work on TV. Yeah. But then it's like, I'd rather do that tenfold than to like just post a story on social media. It's so wild. It's so wild.
It doesn't have to even make logical sense. Yeah. It's just, there's just that. I mean, I get it.
I think I know why.
Level, I get it.
Because it's the part of me that likes to just retreat. So let's say with Netflix, I'll film for a month or 2 and then I'll be done with it. And I'll just go back to my life of being in the jungle or in the Andes and just chilling. Where it's like social media, there's this pressure of like every day being visible. And I'm like, that's what I feel like I don't roll with.
It's the ongoing visibility.
Yeah.
I had to really learn how to embrace that. But I saw the gift in it. That's why I call it a spiritual practice. I even made a whole course on it because I was like, this is not just, there's so much shadow work and stuff to visibility. And so every time that you do share something or post something or we do something like this is new. I can feel the expansiveness in your energy. I literally, it's like I feel you taking up more space. And I want that. I love that because it doesn't take away from me taking up space. It's just like we're both enhanced by it.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah. And thank you, fellas, for listening to the Liberated Masculine podcast.
Thank you for joining us for the Liberated Masculine podcast with Brenden and Durell. A
liberated masculine on the liberated feminine podcast.
The liberated human.
Yeah.
That's next level. So yes, thank you for joining us for the Liberated Feminine Masculine podcast with Brenden and with Lucy. And if you want to go deeper into the practices that can support things like your nervous system, your body, cultivate your sexual energy, help you navigate conflict. Again, we're talking about the real stuff, right? Not the surface level stuff. Then join us for the workshop that we're hosting on July 19th. And if you happen to be watching this after that date, totally fine because the replay is available at the same link. So it's definitely something you won't want to miss. And we'll have some extra little goodies in there for you as well. So check out the links in the description here for more on that. And otherwise, thank you for joining us for this episode. And here's to liberating your wild human heart.